Weather Extra. Pull out those rain boots and umbrellas. Rain returns to the forecast as we head into a new week. We're on your side with how much we're expecting and what we're tracking as we head into February.
And with rain moving into California this weekend, that could help with fighting those wildfires. We give you the Weather Extra on how it could potentially bring more issues.
Plus, even though these wilder temperatures are on the way for us next week, we're on your side with a program that could help lower those heating costs for your home.
Live on your side, First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
But first, check out this stunning footage sent to us by Jeff Cadell out of Asheville, Alabama. This is frozen furniture that happened during the freeze that we saw earlier this week. Wow, that is insane. That's right here in Asheville.
Beautiful. He had a little ice art there, and he took a lot of photos, but just kind of show you just how cold. I mean, when you go in the deep freeze, we had a lot of frozen ponds around the area.
Happen a lot.
No, not around here. Listen, we have one more night with this extreme cold across the area, and then we are going to have some improvements. Let's talk about the next big thing. And right now, first off, current temperatures, we have 38 in Galesville. Our weather watchers checking in, 42 from John King and Alabaster over the state, and Vernon at Lamar County, Tony McDonald at 39. But you see these temperatures right now at last check above freezing, down to 39 on Red Mountain. But tomorrow morning, hey, we're down into the teens and 20s again, so we will have freezing conditions to start the day early tomorrow morning, showing 18 there around Jasper, 19 at Marion, 21 at Centerville, 19 at Talladega tomorrow morning. So prepare for a hard freeze to start the day. And I wanted to show you on the visible satellite image, I was noticing, look at this over southern Georgia. You can still see some snow even down in the parts of Florida. There was some snow that you could really see that snowpack on the visible satellite image over the past couple days, but I was noticing South Alabama not as much for today as that melting process continues. But the thaw across the region as we gradually climb out of the polar plunge will continue for this weekend. Although it's freezing tonight, we will have highs around 51 for tomorrow, mostly dry for this weekend. One more light freeze that comes up early on Sunday, and then we switch into a wetter pattern into next week. Here's a look at the lows over the next several days, and you can see by early Saturday, again tomorrow, 22 degrees, showing 30 degrees early on Sunday, but after that, we have low temperatures above freezing, above average for a change, and it looks like in the long range that may actually hold on through the mid part of the month of February. So we'll certainly keep you posted on that, looking at those lows through the end of next week. But you can see next big thing will be those higher rain chances. This is from the Weather Prediction Center showing those estimated rainfall amounts over the next 1 to 7 days, seeing some real heavy rain back to the west. I do think by that first weekend of February, the 1st and the 2nd, we'll see the next best chance for heavier rain, and possibly that flood threat will be ramping up over the state. But we'll have more specifics on that coming up, including the 10-day forecast in First Alert Weather. And we're going to be talking more about beyond the 10-day forecast as we continue right here.
And thanks, Wes. We're actually now going to talk about our forecasted rainfall totals over the next 7 days. How much rain are we expecting? Well, we already mentioned that next week definitely looks a lot more unsettled. We're going to be seeing on and off rain chances. So here's a quick look at how much rainfall we could possibly see within the next 7 days. And most of central Alabama could generally see around an inch, but slightly above that for some spots, like in Tuscaloosa, around 1.5 inches. In Marion County, 1.25 inches, around 3/4 of an inch for areas north and east. So either way, we definitely need to make sure that we are staying weather aware and alert throughout the next several days, because we just want to make sure we're being careful as we're out on those roads. But California is preparing to also see rain, and authorities are preparing the burn scars for the possibility of mudslides. Jeff Nugent has the latest.
Drive through the burn scars of the Eaton fire and you will hear a symphony of sweat equity. LA County Public Works crews clearing debris, and Harrison White shoring up his Altadena home with sandbags after it survived the flames more than 2 weeks ago.
Dude, come on.
He ended up being a double evacuee.
I was here on January 7th. The fire obviously was just a mile up there, and then I was in Castaic yesterday, staying at my sister's house, probably 2 miles away from the Hughes fire. and so we got evacuated from there as well.
Free sandbags are being offered to people living along the foothills because rain is expected this weekend. The fear is these barren slopes may give way, which is why Public Works crews have been cleaning out the 20 debris basins in the Eaton Fire burn area. The basin is designed with some backups in case too much water and debris flowed down the hills there and they overwhelmed the tower. Water can continue in this direction, but the post right here would hold back things like downed trees, and the water can continue to go through the spillway, allowing gravity to do most of the work so that any potential runoff would go downhill into the flood control channel that's already cleared. Officials say if your home survived the fire but there's a barren slope near your property that's 20 feet or higher,
your best bet is not to be in that home when it rains. The most conservative thing to do is to not be in that home when it rains, if we have not come and seen you yet.
the Santa Anita racetrack has been converted into a staging area where 10,000 K-rails will be distributed along with 25,000 gravel bags. Along this hillside, a private contractor installed a straw wattle over this property as a CAL FIRE team cleared away brush to keep the roadways clear during a downpour. Back at Harrison White's home, the inside is filled with ash and debris that penetrated his windows, which is why he's hoping these sandbags will make a difference for the property that sits on a slope if heavy rain were to fall.
Better to do something ahead of time than wait until the last second and not be able to do anything about it.
And that's what we're actually tracking. What exactly is causing the rain in the issues in these areas, and especially these areas that really need it the most. So even though the rain should be coming as a relief, the rate it falls could bring some more problems. So the faster the rain falls, that actually makes it more likely that it would loosen the soil and debris on the already dry land, which could send it tumbling towards the burned neighborhoods. Basically what happens, as you can see with this graphic on the screen, is that when the land is burned, it makes the ground really hard. So when you have all of that rain coming down, it causes some major issues because the ground is not able to absorb all of that runoff. And instead, where does that runoff go? It goes down the mountain and it goes down into the valley. So areas that have already been seeing intense rainfall, or intense fires, are going to be seeing now the possibility of all of that debris from the fires taken with the rain that isn't able to be absorbed and could lead to some flooding. So just a dangerous situation, seeing the possibility of rain in the forecast beginning Saturday night and potentially through tomorrow morning. Well, we were just talking about conditions on the West Coast. Let's now go across the pond over into Ireland, which is currently reeling under a rare status red weather warning as Stormy Owen batters the country. The storm stemming from the same system that brought the historic snowfall along the Gulf Coast earlier this week. It brought winds moving 100 miles per hour with wind gusts up to 114 miles per hour, which is the strongest winds they've seen since World War II. More than 1 million homes, farms, and businesses were without power, and many buildings saw significant damage as this system is set to last through Thursday. Well, coming up on First Alert Weather Extra, January continues to unleash its winter wrath. We show you where some animals are dropping it like it's cold and cars are freezing over. We'll be right back.
Welcome back in, everyone. It is First Alert Weather Extra. We are now going to be looking at that weekend forecast. And as we approach the weekend, this is what we're expecting here across central Alabama. Well, we're going to be slightly seeing warmer conditions, but right now we're seeing temperatures Dropping once again below freezing. Freezing in Marion County at 32 degrees, 39 in Jefferson, 40 degrees in Tuscaloosa. It is another chilly night, but your weekend doesn't look too bad. We will see some cold temperatures for the mornings, like your early Saturday morning, again below freezing. We're talking upper teens and low 20s, but Saturday late afternoon, low 50s. So mild conditions in store. Some sunshine will stick around. We'll see increasing clouds Saturday night and more cloud coverage, but we're also tracking some rain chances, increasing rain chances for your Sunday night and into Monday of next week. But the good news is, if you have any plans Saturday night, maybe you're heading out to the LSU at Alabama game at the Coleman Coliseum, temperatures dropping down by the time you're leaving the game back into the mid-30s. So whatever plans you have for this weekend, although we're seeing mild conditions for the afternoons, it doesn't stay warm for very long. Make sure you still have that heavy coat, the sweaters, and the jackets. We're talking more, though, about those milder conditions later into next week, right here coming up on First Alert Weather Extra. But a program that helps people in need pay their energy and utility bills is so busy, they can't accept new applications until March. The Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program has processed more than 2,000 applications in the last week alone. Those who qualify are eligible for one payment and must have documentation like Social Security cards and proof of income.
When we pay the utility and energy bills, it frees up money for the families that are already in need of just basic needs, just food, medications. So as long as we have funds, we're more than willing to help them.
And you can schedule through the website or by calling. And they also have a crisis line if you need help faster.
Well, Elsa may not have said it best when she said that cold never bothered her anyway, because that's certainly not the case for our dear iguana friends in Florida this weekend. Check out this image shared by Dan Ellithorpe on X of a fallen iguana. A cold snap in Florida that we knew all too well over the weekend could cause iguanas to enter a frozen state called torpor, which causes them to fall out of trees or other vegetation. Torpor happens most often when temperatures drop below 50 degrees for a period of time, and it varies depending on the size of an iguana. So the bigger the iguana, the more time it would take for the cool temperatures to impact them. So speaking of those temperatures, what are we looking at in Florida right now? Well, Wes was mentioning how across parts of South Georgia, there's still snow cover on the ground. And so in North Florida, we've still got those very cold temperatures that are supporting some of that ice still at the surface. I know we're cold here, but hey, even in North Florida, we're seeing 30s over in the Florida Big Bend into the Panhandle, North Florida along that I-75 corridor. Now, the farther south you go down the peninsula, tonight we're seeing some upper 40s in Central Florida, about 50 degrees near Disney World, and then you get closer to Miami, Key West, getting into the upper 50s. But these are just temperatures right now. We've got to look at the possibility that overnight you've got clear skies, calm conditions. We always say radiational cooling, that is a recipe for cold mornings. Well, it's not just Florida. Parts of Michigan, where we expect it to feel cold, are also feeling the effects of below freezing temperatures as cars are encased in ice. Simon Chiquette visited a Detroit neighborhood to learn how city officials are addressing the issue.
You ever seen cars covered in ice like that?
Not like that, have you?
In the thick of an extreme cold streak here along Monroe Street in Dearborn Heights.
That's my grandkids' cars, and I'm afraid that they're going to be damaged.
I found homeowners like Cheryl Fritz struggling with vehicles like these, blanketed in ice. The city of Dearborn Heights telling me, sadly, their crews have been battling numerous water main breaks at the worst possible time. And they've been responding quickly.
We're fixing them just as quick as obviously they're identified. You know, we're probably having 2 or 3 a night right now.
In this case, a Chevy SUV and a Ford pickup appearing literally stuck in the ice. Not exactly a warm welcome to this day.
And I just retired too, so yes, it does make me angry.
Paul Vanderplow, overseeing operations for the city, telling me they'll be freeing these vehicles with heavy equipment, then towing them away to a warming center. Their goal is to get them running again and without any issues.
We're going to be chipping this one out and then working with our tow company to have it taken to a warming center. We'll get the car defrosted and service given back to the residents. This is also, quite frankly, why the mayor's been so adamant about revamping our infrastructure, our water mains.
With temps expected to rise later this week, Cheryl is hoping for brighter days and warmer feelings. She's thankful for the city being here to help and hoping Mother Nature puts the brakes on the brakes.
We talked to the director right now. It sounds like they're going to get you some help.
Yeah, that's what they said they're going to get me, which I appreciate a whole lot.
Well, still ahead on First Alert Weather Extra, we are tracking the wet weather on the horizon heading our way as we move into February. Plus, how volcanoes can produce something even more valuable than molten lava. I sounded like I was underwater.
You did. It meant like you were being under a lava flow.
Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. I'm just trying to see what's happening when I lean forward. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. It's working now.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. The next big thing for us, well, we're going to have some rain coming back for Sunday night and into early on Monday, and then we'll catch some breaks during the week next week. But how about some milder weather, but a wetter pattern? It looks like perhaps going into early February, we will start to see that flood risk start to ramp up. So let's talk about it through tonight. We're going to have freezing conditions during the overnight hours. I think tomorrow morning, listen, we're going to have another hard freeze out there. We're going to have some teens, some 20s. So a first alert for the deep freeze again. One more night with those kind of temperatures out there. Look at Hamilton, 22 degrees. Tuscaloosa, Birmingham will drop to near 22, as well as Anniston, and for areas as far south as Demopolis, Clanton, Uniontown, down into the southern part of the coverage area. But as we get into tomorrow during the day, up to around 51 for a high. Plenty of sunshine. Beautiful Saturday coming up tomorrow. It's the warmest day actually that we've had since last Saturday, and looks like into Sunday most of the day will be dry, but here comes the rain. You can see right here, good chance of wet weather. And back to the west, you see there's a lot of rain in here that's going to be working its way across the area. So we're going to see those showers building in from west to east. It's mostly during the overnight and through the early morning hours there on Monday. And I do think this rain's going to taper off to just a few isolated showers during the day Monday. So with respect to planning the work day early next week, most of Monday should be okay. It's early morning mostly when we see the rain. And then we catch a break here. Notice this is Tuesday, but here comes the rain back in here. Notice around Wednesday and next week. So So we'll see another chance around the middle of the week. And then after that, we'll have another break. And then here it comes back by Friday and especially into Groundhog Day weekend. There's Saturday night as we go into February the 1st and into the 2nd. You can see a chance for rain. Now, this particular system could generate some heavier rain, so we'll have to watch for a flood risk starting to pop up perhaps into that first week of February. And speaking of that first week of February, full week looks like around February 3rd and beyond, still some unsettled weather that we're going to be talking about. Tomorrow again for Saturday, afternoon highs after that frigid start up to around 51 degrees there for a high temperature, and the wind speed for tomorrow out of the south direction at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, picking up during the afternoon. Let's go to the 10-day forecast, and again watching the Sunday night, early Monday time frame for the wet weather, and then we're going to be talking about some rain coming back again around the middle of next week. And towards the end of the week, highs around 60 degrees. Not seeing a severe weather threat into Saturday and Sunday, but you can see around Groundhog Day there looks like higher rain chances probably end up. That's going to be the system, probably generate over an inch of rain perhaps across parts of the area. But right now what we want to do is go beyond the 7-day forecast again. And also before we do that though, I want to introduce you to some very special guests from the Summit Homeschoolers that visited the television station today and had a great time touring the studio and talking about meteorology and asking some great weather questions.
So,
and you can hear there we were talking about the green wall and talking about all the cameras, and they had a chance to take some pictures at the news desk and in the weather center. But fun times today, and the kids had a great time, Tania. And of course we talked about the snow, and they were able to play in some of the snow in Rainbow City. That's where they're located, in Altoona area. So they got a little bit of snow with that first round.
January 10th. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know people were disappointed this week that, Central Alabama, we kind of missed out. But at least we got a round.
Hey, we got a round earlier this month, and hey, we still have a long way to go here.
We sure do.
But it does look like a wetter pattern coming up beyond the 7-day. We need to watch as we get into that week of February 3rd, heavier rain, possibly some stormy weather that we'll need to watch out for.
Absolutely, Wes. And when we say wetter, we're not talking about snow, guys, unfortunately. We're actually talking about that chance to see on and off rain and possible stormy conditions as we really close out the month of January and enter February. So looking here at our temperature outlook, this is February 1st through February 7th. As you look across the state or United States, below average for the Pacific Northwest and over towards Denver, Colorado, but much of the East Coast dealing with above average temperatures, including us here in the Southeast. So we're looking a lot warmer as we kick off the month of February, but also wetter. Let's see here, zooming in, above average rainfall February 1st through February 7th across central Alabama. So let me walk you through those next possible rain and maybe even some stormy conditions later into our next month, our upcoming month. As we look beyond the 7-day, we're looking into next weekend. This brings us into the first few days of February. Saturday is going to be February 1st. You can see that next system moving through, bringing in some heavy rainfall into your early Sunday. And then we see another round, really some on and off showers throughout next week. That's Monday, showing a few chances for showers across the area. Definitely some cloudy conditions. Then we bring in Tuesday, looking fairly dry. That's February the 4th. And then we're starting to see increasing rain chances by Wednesday, possibly Thursday, February 5th and 6th. And then we move into Friday, February the 7th, still seeing some showers. Keep in mind, this is not next week. This is actually the week after next week. So we're talking about beyond the 7-day, February 1st through February 7th. But we'll continue to give you updates on your forecast as it's likely going to change. But earthly riches from miles below. Dan Smith shows how molten magma can bring us glittering gold in your moment of science.
Gold has been one of mankind's most precious metals for millennia, giving rise to the legend of El Dorado, the California Gold Rush, and many other tales in pursuit of riches. Chances are volcanoes aren't the first thing you think of for gold mines, but alas.
There are lots of gold deposits, plus other metals, copper, silver, that are associated with volcanoes around the Ring of Fire. What we haven't really understood is, why are some of these volcanic systems so gold rich?
Dr. Adam Simon at the University of Michigan says we have some sense of the molten recipe required, but geologists are putting in a lot of work to figure out the exact sequence of steps nature takes, with his part in a recently published paper proving a critical piece.
When the Earth formed, gold and most other metals, they became part of the Earth's mantle. Nature can extract that gold and move it up into the shallow part of Earth's crust, sort of right below the volcano that we see.
Gold itself tends to stay many miles below unless it bonds with a certain type of sulfur atom. Technically 3 of them, though some schools of thought say it's the 2-atom version. In any case, that bond allows the precious metal to make it topside.
In the mantle, the gold concentration is extremely low. We're talking parts per billion. When nature melts the mantle, it's not melting the whole mantle, it's melting just a little bit of the mantle. So you can think of gold sort of hitchhiking. It's hitchhiking as part of the magma.
Even extremely low concentrations can be helped along by nature's fury below our feet.
What we were able to show is that by following certain recipes in subduction zones, nature can increase gold concentrations by as much as 1,000 times.
It's high risk, high reward to mine gold in a zone like this, but Dr. Simon says current tech is up to the task.
You can have a volume of rock that might have 1 part gold per million parts rock, and a mining company can extract that and make a profit at today's gold prices.
Billions of dollars in startup, interest, taxes, environmental permits are another matter, but geology and geopolitics are often intertwined, and Dr. Simon offers this statistic for where we're headed.
In 2025, we use about 100% more gold every year than we did in 1960. But a lot of that gold is actually being used in technologies, jewelry, laptops, smartphones. So our study will be part of, the process that mining companies use to help improve the success rate for finding new gold deposits to meet growing demand.
For this week's Moment of Science, I'm Dan Smith.
And before we send you off into your chilly Friday evening, how about these sunset views from Hoax Bluff, sent in from Jeremy Smith? A little cozy winter sunset.
Love those colors out there, really popping. Cotton candy sky.
And Glenn, go ahead, Wes.
I was going to say Glenn Smith and Vance sharing that lovely photo.
Oh, wow. Now that's gorgeous.
Rodney Frazier, sunset at Vulcan. Beautiful shot.
That had to be taken with a drone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was
Yeah,
like,
we had some video I shared. It was just an incredible view out there earlier this week, and that was actually after the winter weather. Sharon Gill sharing us a late sunrise view.
And Amy Wayne, a sunset.
Oh.
In Greece.
Wow.
Okay, vacation.
What a view.
God, beautiful view
Wow.
of the.
On the other side of the world.
Man, we weren't invited.
You know, if I maybe had glasses on, I would be able to see that looks like Greece, but from back here, I'm like,
yeah, we
oh, it
couldn't.
just seems like a
Right.
sunset in our backyard. No,
Fair.
it's Greece.
I know, and then you see that picture, and then you see a picture of the Alabama Gulf Coast this week. And you're
Right.
like, okay, Nome, Alaska,
Yeah,
what?
What is going on? It's
I know.
definitely been a wild weather week.
This has been a historic week weather-wise. I mean, this
For
is
sure.
something we'll talk about forever with that winter storm to the south, but still a cold night tonight. We'll be talking about it.
Below freezing temps. More updates first at 9.